This is the Arctic Dew Line expedition of 1955 by Alaska Freight Lines. The movies that you are about to see were shot by my father, Joseph D. Kelly.
We start in Alaska. Specifically, we're going to be looking at Circle City is where the starting point is. You can see it here, and you see the outline of the trail there from Circle City to the Canadian Arctic.
This is the trip, probably the first trip and the only trip, that has ever been made from Fairbanks, Alaska to the Canadian Arctic Ocean. This picture starts just north of the Yukon River, about 8 miles out of Circle City. Circle City is on the Yukon River approximately 200 miles north of Fairbanks. This is getting the camp, bunkhouses, and everything ready to take off. We'll leave here, we'll go north to the Porcupine River, then up a river called the Colleen River, and then from the Colleen River we will cross over the divide to a creek called Bilwadi Creek. And then we'll go over what is known as the Old Crow Flats and down to the Arctic Ocean and come out at Shingle Point. We go down a river. To get there, we go down a river called the Blow River. We go down a river called the Blow River. It is about 45 degrees below zero when this picture was taken. There's Pettyjohn and a fellow from Fort Yukon. This is about, you can see all the frost. This is Porcupine River. We are icing up there. We carried ice for our water supply. We are making a ramp on the north side of the river so we can have a straight shot in the road for the trucks to come later. Here's a cat skinner who got stuck where he shouldn't have. This is one of the lakes that we're crossing. And then we see a Wiener, Alaska plane. Some of the frost you can see there, very thick because it's so cold. Here we are building a runway of the old lakes in the Arctic. This lake is near the head of the Old Crow River. We built about a 3,500-foot runway on this lake. This place is called Mallard Springs because even there in the middle of winter there was an area that was about 4 acres of water where the springs came right out of the ground and mallard ducks lived there all winter. I gave it that name. My father gave it that name. This is just before we are breaking over the divide into the Arctic. This is the northern slopes of the Old Crow River. We are right in the divide of the Blow River. We are approximately 150 miles north of the Arctic Circle. Gene Huntley came up for a visit to see how we were getting along. He was the vice president of Alaska Freight Lines. This is Ted Matthews, who worked on the project, and there are a whole bunch of people. And Joe Kelly, who took this movie, is right. Here comes Don Gilbertson, and he'll comb his hair as quick as he gets out of the plane. No, by gosh, he's going to cover the motor before he combs his hair. I forgot to. This is looking toward the Arctic Ocean. We are right in the divide. There are no bad breaks in this route all the way to the Arctic Ocean. This is the worst of them right there, and it's not very bad. The cat moved ahead. Now here you see the bunkhouse and whatnot. The cat moved ahead because the snow is soft and then winched the load up to it. The first one again here is the cookhouse, the second is the bunkhouse, and then in behind comes our load of fuel. There's the flags they dropped for us as guides from the airplanes. Alfred Gezzi owned this outfit of Alaska Freight Lines. We're on the Arctic slope, and this is going down the Blow River. We made a fill across the Blow River. There is no timber in this region whatsoever. The only growth there are some very scrub willows. One of these snows fills will set up in where it was hard as ice in just a matter of a few hours. There's Andy Warwick, Ward Tompkins. Now we are down on the new Beaufort Sea, which is part of the Arctic Ocean at a place called Shingle Point. At this point, the recording of my father's voice from which the transcript was made cuts out, and there is no further transcript, but I will provide some overview where I note some things. Here you see some dog sled teams that my father took some movies of. You'll see back in even in the mid-50s, things were they were still using a lot of seal skin and animal furs for warmth and whatnot. So things hadn't changed much at that point. The Iditarod was still a grueling rescue mission rather than the race it is today. Here we see movies of a number of people who are on the cat train. Again, don't know most of them, but I do recognize that guy as a Gezi, but I don't think it's Al Gezi. I think it's maybe his father. Not sure. And that is Joe Kelly there coming forward. Here we see more airplanes, more unloading and unloading going on in support of the Dew Line expedition. In the next few minutes you'll actually see a number of clips of some of the native population in there. Don't know who these people are. Here you see Al Gezi again. Maybe he's the village elder, don't really know. Here you see some of the videos of the VC-22 Trudeau vehicle that was made by Alaska Freight Lines. Huge monstrosity. My dad had nicknamed it the Monster. Each wheel on this thing, with the trailers behind it as well, I believe, was controlled, had its separate motor. So it could be operated slowly through the snow and independently controlled. So quite a few wheels here. Now, from what I read on the internet, it was used for a few years, and then since the early 1960s is sitting off the Steese Highway near Fairbanks, rusting away. You can see here that now this is no longer on the north slope where there are no trees. This must be well south of there. I don't know if these pictures were taken in sequence or not, but this does appear to be after them making a road using the cant train that they were using. So now they got the haul road for the trucks made, and it's going up north through that area. So this is probably afterwards, and I don't know if my father made the trip back down to take the train trucks back up, or if he got the movies from somebody else. Really not sure. Now we're coming near the end here. You see some final shots of the monster again, the VC-22 that was made by Alaska Freight Lines. See, it's pretty powerful equipment. Now some of the final scenes where I see a bunch of native people in the village that they were going to. I have assumed it's Kaktovik, but they said Canadian Arctic, so may not be that one. So anyway, it's an interesting set of pictures here at the final part.